Well, hello, my name is Abraham Anene Mtonya, and I was at Bishop Mackenzie from 1994 until the end of 2002. Well, I think at that time, my father, let's say my late father, Lieutenant General Mtonya, at the time was actually serving as a High Commissioner in England, and before that, and I think the desire after his tenure had completed, once there was a change of government, because we just got Bakil Muluzi became the first democratically elected president, and obviously some things changed. So he was brought back to Malawi in 1994. And I think at that up until that point, we were very fortunate to have an international experience and education because before we lived in England, we were living in Kenya. And that time we were going to international schools, we were learning English and other languages, we were being taught the Cambridge education system, so IGCSE and such. And so once returning back to Malawi, if I recall, I think the conversation was we want our kids to maintain that education system and not change to like would be the local education system. I think is a I forget what the acronym it
NSC,
is for that.
Maneb.
Yes, yes. So instead of learning that, we just continue with the IGCSE curriculum, and we were based in Lilongwe. That's where home was. So out of the schools that were teaching, it was either going to Kamuzu Academy, I think, or St. Andrews, which the time in Bishop Mackenzie, those are like the big three schools at the time that were offering that level of education. Parents wanted us, me and my siblings, to be closer to home. One brother went to St. Andrews, another sister went to Kamuzu Academy, and the three of us stayed in Lilongwe, and we all went to Bishop Mackenzie. So that's what I think that was probably the main reason why we ended up at BMS at that time. It really did allow us to be closer with each other. So I am the youngest of five kids. My oldest brother, he was one of the ones who went to Bishop Mackenzie. So he was obviously a few years, or a lot of years older than I was. He's 10 years older than me, roughly. So and then there was myself and my sister right above me who were at Bishop Mackenzie. So we were closer in age, but it allowed us to it allowed us to be closer together in the sense that we would go to school together at the same times. When my brother was old enough to drive us to school, which is probably, something I shouldn't say, but yeah, he could drive, and so it relieved my parents from the duties of having to take us to school in the morning, and then someone has got afternoon activities and they have to come home at different times, but then knowing that my brother was there and could look after us, it was just good to have a big brother there to take care of you. And of course, him being the popular person that he was, we had that protection from the big bullies who wanted to pick on us if they wanted to. So that was nice knowing that I had a bigger brother and someone to look up to, and someone who was just familiar with what was happening at the school. And yeah, we could enjoy activities together. I think that was one of the main benefits of having siblings there. And when they were did something great, knowing that they had family to kind of witness and support and go attend awards and like for me, like go to school plays and stuff. That was very important to have that. Actually, I started off in standard one, all the way right in the beginning. Even though by the time I was getting to Bishop Mackenzie, I was old enough to go right into standard two. No, I think was it to standard standard three. I think it was. I was old enough to go into standard three, but they started off me in standard one because um, I think I didn't do well in a basic math uh, exam or something. And they were like, oh no, we need to start you off at the beginning just to get you up to speed. And then after I demonstrated, oh, I'm more than capable of understanding, I think there was just a change in system they put me right into standard 2 in the second term, and then I stayed in standard 2 all the way up until I left Bishop Mackenzie when I was starting Form 4.
Okay.
So yeah, from standard 1, 2, all the way up to Form 4. I think the biggest reason was because at that time I already identified that I wanted to be an actor and I wanted to pursue theater, movies, acting, drama. And when you get to after when you at the time, I don't know if this is how it was then, when you get to Form 4, you get to pick which classes you want to take as you now pursue completing your IGCSE. And I wanted to do drama, of course, but unfortunately, only 4 people chose drama as an elective when they needed a minimum of 7 for that drama class to actually happen. And that was obviously devastating for me because it meant now I had to do the other subject that was in the same bracket, which was chemistry. I don't like chemistry. So I was a very unhappy child. And it was just frustrating too because I really enjoyed theater and I knew I wanted to be I wanted to be an actor. And Mr. Allen, who was our teacher at the time, was also, just frustrated because we had built a good relationship together. And then the idea came up of, hey, why don't we send you to another school where you can continue your acting if that's what you really want to do? And thank goodness my parents at that time were very supportive of my dream, and we looked at different options, either going to Liverpool to join my older sister who was out there, or to move to South Africa, to ISA, International School South Africa, which is what we ended up doing. So my sister and I both left Bishop Mackenzie. At that time, she was starting IB, and I was in Form 4. So we both left Bishop Mackenzie and we moved to South Africa. Yeah, that's why I left. Well, of course, I think at the very beginning when I was much younger, diversity, race conversations wasn't necessarily something that was at the forefront of my mind. I think I was just a curious child. And the fact that I had already been exposed to living abroad, living in Kenya, living in England, where there were not, especially the schools of which I would say that I was put into, very few times were there a lot of Black people in those classes. So I guess if subconsciously I could really say that I was used to being, if not the only one, but maybe one of 3 Black people in a class at any given time. And then moving to Bishop Mackenzie, I'm sure you'd understand the history of Bishop Mackenzie. I think it was mostly established to allow the expats from foreign countries to have a school that was teaching the education system over there. And I think maybe later was when it probably opened up for more of the local population to attend that school. Fact check me on that. That needs to be.
No, I think you're right from the
Yeah.
part. That's
Yeah. Right. So later on, so as the years opened up for all types of people to join and enter that school, the diversity aspect of it grew. And yeah, there were people from all over the world, people from Portugal, Italy, Spain, France, Germany. I had friends from every corner of the world, and then there were also the local Malawian kids who were able to go there too. So it was a very, very, very eclectic school, diverse. And then there were times too, I remember, I think when I was getting towards Form 1, where in the whole Form 1, so I think we had three Form 1 classes. There was my class and then 2 other Form 1 classes. There were times where I was the only Black person in my class. And then maybe out of the total Form 1 group, there was maybe about 5 or 6 Black people, and I struggled to remember if there were only Malawians. Maybe there might have been like one random person from another African country who was out there. And that was just like, oh, okay, that's what it is. And how that happened, I think it's just happenstance. Wasn't. But you're still, an English speaking school in the warm heart of Africa, right there in the middle. So you'd see, like the teachers were mostly either European or from Western countries, and then the classroom assistants or the other, I'd say, other occupations like the custodians or the cleaners and stuff were obviously local hires, So later on, as I'm thinking about it in hindsight, that was the dynamic. The people in the classrooms and the heads of school were of foreign nationals, and then those who held perhaps the lower level jobs were of Malawian, if not African descent. And to be honest, yeah, I don't think it was anything that was highlighted, obviously, in my life, but uh, that was definitely a thing. And I think people who are more race conscious would probably have more to say about that at that point. But for me, it was just another day at school. I had I had friends from every group: Indian friends, white friends, black friends, Chinese friends. It didn't matter. I was very fortunate that I could fit in any group. I could hang out with my white friends during the day and then go hang out with my Malawian friends at night, and that was just what I was used to. I haven't been back to Bishop Mackenzie in some time. I think the last time I was there when it was actually open was in 2014, 15. I went to go watch a play in the theater, in the stage where I actually got my in the hall, in the main hall. I think it has a name now. But yeah, so I was there when Bishop was now introducing IB, which I don't know if that's what they're teaching now. So from then it was just from all the way up, you do your standard IGCSE and then you did A levels after that, I think. And then they were like switching from IB to do IB1, IB2. So yeah, and we had our computer labs and enjoying Windows 95, learning how to use computers and playing computer games during in the small IT room in the primary section where it was almost the computers are almost black and white. No, it wasn't that old, but it was definitely these big clunky things that was not as articulate as they are today. But it was fascinating to learn how to type on a computer, and but also maintaining the art of handwriting. And I remember, I'm pretty sure they still teach this. I hope, writing with pencil and learning how to write in cursive, and then having the handwriting exam. That was something that they'll teach, or they'll offer, so that you could graduate from writing using a pencil to writing with a pen. And only a few people were good at it enough that they could trust them with a pen. And those of us who still had to maintain writing with a pencil, we had to hold off for a few more years before we were ready to do that, because I'm not going to lie, my spelling wasn't all that great. So there were lots of mistakes that were being made. So things like that. Getting to school at 7:15, and making sure you're there on time so you could do a roll call, and then classes started I think at 7:20 or 7:30, and then you had break time at 10 o'clock until 10:30, and then you go home at 1:15 or 12:15 if you're in the younger years, on a Friday as well. I think school ended a little early, and yeah, at the time my primary school head teacher was headmaster was Mr. Tucker. And then when I went to secondary school, the head teacher was Mr. Mundy. The times that I was there. Assemblies, I think we had Friday assemblies, which was something we always look forward to, just to kind of sit in a big group and hang out with everyone. And I remember Mr. Tucker would light a candle at the front of the hall. And I think that was so that everyone would look at the light, because there's something mesmerizing about the candlelight, but it was a way of keeping eyes forward. And I think I learned about that later on, but I always wondered, why did they light a candle? I became a prefect as well. A house captain for VP. We had three. Now I think there's only two houses. Um,
Actually, I'm not
oh
sure
no,
what.
they've changed it completely
Mhm, mhm.
now. There's a whole you have different animals now, right? I think there's like four.
There's
So
four animals. Yeah.
there's four animals now. Okay. When I was there, we had in primary school there were three houses. There was uh, Zomba, Mulanji, and Vipia. Vipia was yellow, Zomba was red, Mulanji was green. And then when you move to secondary school, or to it was Kasungu and what was the other one? Oh, I forget the other one. I think was it Kasungu or I might be wrong. I forget. There was different names of districts in Malawi, or different cities and towns in Malawi.
Mhm.
So inter-house activities were those were the we lived for those. I was very athletic, so I enjoyed competing in the inter-house everything, from swimming to athletics I think we had did we have a singing competitions? I think we did. But it was team spirit was one thing you could not doubt. We loved and enjoyed our inter-house activities, and also when other schools would come and we would host would host when St. Andrews would come and play against us, and Kamus Academy would come and play against us. We would host them, and school pride was definitely something that we all appreciated and enjoyed at the time. It was honestly, I have fond memories of my times at Bishop Mackenzie. I cannot say those any, and it was, I guess, different times. Cell phones were not really a thing. So we played outside and it was interacting with each other. If you wanted to call somebody, you called them on the ground phone or the landline, and you remembered phone numbers and you remembered people's names. And um, I could remember everyone's first and last name because we heard that so much time at the beginning. And it was, yeah, we all knew each other. We were all friends. We would go field trips together, and it was such a great time, and I really do hope they have maintained those things. Going to Outward Bound Zimbabwe, I don't know if they do that anymore. We'd go to this international hiking trip where we'd camp for a week, I think it was, in Zimbabwe, just hiking mountains and living out in the bushes and doing stuff like that. All of these cool things we used to do, and that was when we went to Form 3. When you went to Form 3, that's when you could go to Outward Bound. Um, and these are great things that they're organized by the school just to kind of build that camaraderie and unity amongst us. Fascinating times. The first one that comes to mind, I think, was, oh, okay. Several come to mind, not in particular order, but just big highlights, and I think major major turning point in my life as a student at Bishop Mackenzie that would be considered happy and memorable. Uh, winning the first Bishop Mackenzie Pop Idol competition. Um, yeah, we had a teacher. His name was Mr. G. He was our geography teacher in the secondary school, and he facilitated. This is when Pop Idols was a huge deal on TV. American Idols, all that kind of stuff. And so they decided to host the Pop Idol Bishop Mackenzie, and I won the very first one. I think the only one that ever happened. That was quite actually, I don't know if you can see it. Let's see. I brought a picture. I don't know if you know
Oh,
of
the
me.
screen
Let's see
is
if I can.
blurring a bit, but yes, I
Screen
can
is
see.
blurry. There it is. That's
Wow.
me. Let me take the blurry background off. So that's me, young Abraham. I think how old was I at that point? Maybe 14 years old. Singing on stage. Uh, Enrique Iglesias, Escape. That was a song. I think it was called Escape. You can't escape my love. But it was a hit back then. So I remember that. That was a great time. Um, the other thing was also winning the public speaking competition. I don't know if they do public speaking anymore. But yeah, we had a public speaking. So there was, you write your own speech, and then and then you improvise a speech on a topic that they give you right there. And I swept the entire competition. I won best for because I think they had you compete in different grade levels in standard classes. So I won standard 6, best performer, best improvised performer, and then and then I won like best performer out of everybody. And yeah, that was a huge moment in my time, because it was great. You entertain people and you win these things. Also, I think the first play that I did that made me decide I wanted to be an actor, I think I played Fagin from Oliver Twist, which I think you had mentioned earlier, which was something that was posted on the Facebook page. I played Fagin from Oliver Twist, the musical. And after that performance, one of my teachers, I believe it was Mrs. McLaughlin, I don't know if she's still around, but Mrs. McLaughlin came up to me after one of the performances and said, "You are so talented. If you don't pursue acting as a career, that'll be a waste of your talent." And I was 11 years old at that time. And when she said that, I was like, okay, I'm going to be an actor. And that was it. From that point, I was like, I need to move to America. I need to go to Hollywood. I'm going to be a movie star because I don't want to waste this talent that I have. So those are major events that kind of happened that inspired and solidified that I want to be a performer, an entertainer. I want to be an actor. First of all, I guess big shout out to, again, Mr. Allen, Miss Philby, Mrs. Riki. They were both my music teachers, and Mr. Allen was the acting teacher. There were other teachers too who were instrumental in that, but I highlight those the most because they're the ones who allowed me to explore my artistic expressions there at school, especially with the theater. I remember also when I decided that I wanted to be an actor too, I was in primary school. So primary school would have their own theatrical productions, and then secondary school would have their own theatrical productions. And when I knew that, all right, I'm actually doing something, Mr. Allen was in charge of the secondary school theater productions. He reached out to me in primary school and asked if I wanted to act in one of the main stage productions in secondary school as Reverend Sykes from the play To Kill a Mockingbird. And I actually have a picture of that as well. Let's see. These are all blur. Maybe I can send these to you. You can edit them into. But that's me over there as Reverend Sykes. And this is my sister, Atupele, who is playing one of the other characters in there, and her friend Rosa. Feroza standing next to her. I forget who this is over here, but yeah. So I got to act with my sister on stage, and I got to play this character, a reverend, in the secondary school theater production, which for me it felt like, oh, what an honor, because I was in primary school. I was a kid. Why are you asking me to play? But he believed in me that much, and I guess I was that good that I could hang out with the big boys. So that, and then moving to South Africa. After that, I moved to ISA. That's where I got to continue acting. I got to take acting as an actual elective for my studies. I competed in different acting competitions. I won Best Actor for a festival that happened in Johannesburg, doing a play over there called We Shall. There wasn't We Shall Sing for the Fatherland. Forget the name of the play, but I played a news reporter, and I won Best Actor for that. And then I got drama honors in high school because I just continued doing my acting. I was in the newspaper, I was interviewed, I won a few other acting competitions outside of that. Then moving to the United States was a part of wanting to continue acting because I wanted to go to college, and I knew in the back of my head I still wanted to make it to Hollywood. I needed to move to America, and I got accepted to Arizona State University, where I pursued my bachelor's degree in theater. And I moved to California for the very first time in 2012 after graduating with my bachelor's in theater. Acted a little bit, got to act in a few TV shows. One most notably is I appeared in an episode of Bones, which is a TV show that was pretty popular in the early to mid 2000 late mid to late 2000s, and I think it was, yeah, 2008 all the way to like 2015. I think was when it was a big deal, somewhere around there. Um, uh, yeah, I got to do that, and then I got my master's degree in theater afterwards at the University of Houston in Texas. And I toured the country doing Shakespeare festivals. Got to act with some great names in the theater world. And now the job that I do, I'm a host for a children's program called the NED Shows. NED stands for Never Give Up, Encourage Others, and Do Your Best. As you can see, I have a blue background back here. I get to do live streams from my studio in my apartment. And it's an animated show that happens live on Zoom for primary and elementary schools around the country and across the globe. I get to do that full time. Of course, I want to get back into acting, but um, I think the biggest thing was everyone was like, "Oh, acting, is it a real profession? Can you survive off of it? What do you really want to do? You should be a doctor, lawyer, accountant, the usual things our parents tell us in our African households." But I am a six. I'm an artist, and my art pays for my life, and I get to do that what I love. And not everyone can say they've moved from a different country to move to the United States and become a resident based off of their acting. And I do that, and that's my biggest achievement. That I believed in myself from the age of 11 that I'm going to move to America, live in Hollywood, be an actor. I'm doing that now, so very happy. Well, I guess to my fellow whoever will be watching this, once you get a moment, I hope that your hindsight, whether it is you're still in it and you're thinking about what to do next with your life, whether you're still a Bishop Mackenzie, or even those who have left afterwards, we share in something very, very, very special. And the fact that we have an institution that can provide you access to the world. Really, it does. And as we are young, sometimes our vision cannot see as far because we're so focused on what's happening right now. And right now, going to Bishop Mackenzie might be the biggest thing in your life, and it probably is. And the experiences and the difficulties and doing homework and all of that kind of stuff that seems to be a drag, those are all building blocks to things that if you really do take advantage of, they will help you later on in life as you shape who you are as a person. So please do yourselves a favor now. Future you will thank you if you take these moments and maximize and explore everything you can, because I started off right where you are, and I get to live my dream today. I might be a dime a dozen, I might be an exception to a rule, but then I am living proof that it is possible. A Malawian child can soar further and higher than anyone can ever expect if you believe. I believe, I think you can too. And I hope you continue, and we'll get to hear your success stories as you continue to represent. Also, so I'll end on that part. But as a side note to the institution, the people who are running the school, I encourage you to offer the language of the people in which that school is established in. It doesn't have to be a mandatory course, but I think to respect the culture, to respect the land in which you are in, make it an opportunity that people can learn at least Chichewa. Start there, because that's the most common spoken language in our country. I feel that my experience as an advocate of my country, as an ambassador of Malawi, was lost a little bit because I was detached from my native tongue. Of course, by my parents sending me abroad, and I don't regret any of that. But what I wish I was able to do more was to speak my own language and to be fluent in it. And I think it's important that you offer that to the kids who are at that school, because everything else is great. But remember, you are in Malawi. Let Malawians also be Malawians in their own home, and offer them an opportunity to learn their language, so that way they can be real ambassadors. And Bishop Mackenzie really is the international school that we all know it is and it should be.